past. It has been my honor and my joy to watch all of your journeys with real estate and see you improve upon your portfolios. I want to start off today with a survey, and I'm new. How many of you have bought a home in the past by a show of hands, or want to buy a home in the future? Lots of hands. What about sold a home? Anybody sold a home, want to sell a home? Even more hands. How many of you know somebody that wants to buy or sell a home? Okay, so the good news is that all of your hands went up, so today's conversation will be relevant to each and every one of you and probably a lot of your friends. Have you heard about the new legal changes in real estate for 2024? You've probably seen it on the news. They're probably making a really big deal out of it, and I wanted to make sure that you heard from me, an industry expert for 20 years, about what's going on. So let's get a little bit into what's happening and the changes. A lot of it has to do with agency and representation. So we have buyer's changes. These non-committal relationships that you're having with real estate agents, having them open the doors for you, are going away. Now, the only time that you will be able to enter into a property without a signed buyer-broker agreement is through an open house. So it's even more important to choose wisely from the very beginning, because you have to sign something before you enter into a property with somebody now. So keep this in mind, you guys. This is as of January of 2024. Now they're kind of changing the way that buyer commission is working. They're calling it concessions. So the seller usually offers concessions to the buyer in that sometimes there's a plumbing repair that needs to happen, or sometimes there is, landscaping issues, and they offer these concessions or credits. So the commission will now be wrapped in through the concessions of your escrow. And this is something that also, it's kind of funny because there was this huge lawsuit about a lack of transparency in real estate a couple years ago, you guys might remember, where they made us begin to post the commissions online. And so now, as of January, the curtains are closing again, and you will not know what the buyer's agent's going to be paid. I know. And so speaking of commissions, if you guys aren't familiar with how commission works in real estate, there are 4 people that are getting a piece of the pie. You have your buyer's broker, your buyer's agent, your listing broker, and your listing agent. And so this is sometimes divided equally, sometimes not divided equally, but traditionally the whole pie has been paid for by the seller. And so this lawsuit, some sellers got together and said, we don't think that's fair, we don't want to pay the buyer's agent. And so now the industry is changing, and the expectation that a seller is going to cover the buyer's agent costs is going away. And so to some potential sellers, they're like, oh my gosh, this is huge. I saved half. Wow. But I don't think that that should really be the perception, because remember, the buyer's agent does a good job in getting that buyer to come to a price that you want as a seller. So I'm still going to be recommending to my sellers that they, compensate or offer some type of a commission to the buyer's agent, but it is not going to be quote unquote standard anymore. And these things have always been negotiable. It's just kind of been a tradition of how things have been, right? So it's big changes. My recommendations to the sellers are to, think about and strategize with your listing agent what you want to receive for your home, and wrap the buyer's agent commissions and concessions into that, because you get more flies with honey, right? Yeah. So put your home on the market at a price that includes all of that. That's my recommendation. And if in 60, 90, whatever amount of days you think is fair, if you don't have that price, then you can reel back the concessions that you were willing to offer and possibly reduce your price, because they haven't sold it for you, right? They haven't done their buyer's agent job. So I'm guessing you probably have some questions, and that's how will the buyer's agents charge? And this is going to be different now. Everything's negotiable. It depends. Some of them might charge per property. Some of them might charge per page of the paperwork that they're doing. You're going to have flat fee agents out there. They're going to pop up. They're doing your transaction for $19.99 or whatever, and you're going to have a la carte agents that only do this or only do that. And so you'll have those types of people in the landscape. And then of course, you're still gonna have your full service percentages. My recommendation for the buyers is to not skim. Like, this is the most important financial decision of your life. You don't wanna skim on it. You wanna make sure that you have somebody that's quality. And then how are you gonna pay? Because now it's not guaranteed that the seller is gonna pay through escrow about this. And so sometimes you might get that seller concession, and it might be not coming out of your pocket at close. But in other situations, you might be bringing more money to the closing table on top of your small down payment. You know, and then, you know, just wrap that into the closing costs with your down and your commissions. Some people might be paying cash or crypto directly to their broker. That's going to be an option. Or payment plans or liens on the property if somebody doesn't have the money up front. So it's going to change. It's going to be different. I'm here for you. I'm here to talk about it with you and make sure that you guys get what you need when it comes to being a buyer or a seller.
You have 1 minute.
Oh, perfect. One thing that shouldn't be negotiable is the fact that you have an agent that knows what they're doing, has experience, and cares about you and what's happening in your future. So I'll leave these lovely testimonials up while I answer any more of your questions.
Okay.
Okay, yes, go.
Here's a question. Let's just say you want to do something creative to stimulate a buyer, like a lease option. In other words, a payment program for 12 months that would turn over into the sale with that money going towards the price of the sale.
Sure.
Now, would you work that together like a team with the escrow company, the title, so that it would start out on, let's say, today, and then it would be finished, or it would have to be a continuance if they weren't able to perform?
Sure.
Is all that kind of stuff that could be worked out in the future?
All of that can be worked out. We actually worked out something similar with Mason, who's our next speaker, and Steve helped with a lease option for Mason's Smithville property. So yes, I can do that paperwork, and I'm happy to. Any other questions?
Is that a federal change or is
It
it
is.
California?
This is across the nation.
Wow.
Mason.
What's your strategy as a buyer's agent when you have that? Do you have that developed yet, or?
I do, and it's going to depend. It's going to depend on the level of service that you guys need, because I don't want to charge you for something that you're not using, but I absolutely, you know, if you need full service, then I need to charge for that.
What other issues do you see like buyers having now?
I honestly see the underserved buyers getting hit the hardest by this, you guys, and that's the part that makes it sad to me. Like the VA buyers that aren't allowed to pay commissions, and the seller decides not to pay a commission, like, what are, you know, it's going to be difficult for them. So we have some things to work out, like people that just are barely scraping by, and they're using every last dime to get into the property with a down payment. So we have some potential issues on the lower side of things, but no, you guys know I care. I will always come up with a solution so that you can buy a property. So be sure to talk with me, Angie Weeks, your real estate consultant.